Here we go.
Welcome, family, to another episode of Conflicts and Conversations. I'm here with my co-host today, my wife Myhisha Myles, and I'm Charles Myles. And thank you for joining us.
Today we're going to be talking about a conflict that we had in a conversation about how to cheer on one of our kids at a sports park.
The kid we're talking about today is our youngest daughter. Okay, she's just starting her teenage years, and she's an awesome player on the soccer team. But with that being said, we have two ways of cheering her on, two ways of engaging her as she's out there on the field. Yes, she has coaches, and we understand that. But as parents on the sideline watching our daughter, one of the things that we hope to get out of her, or hope she's pushing forward, is to give her best effort. To make just we want to see that best effort every time she's out there, and she's told us before that she wants to, of course, give that best effort. But we have two ways of going about, I want to say cheering her on or engaging with her as she's out there in that field. So today we want to talk about that, and this once again is a real situation, a real scenario in her life, and it took place probably about a month ago. So our daughter is one of the I want to say just a great player. As she's out there playing, she had a couple plays where we thought, at least where I thought, she could have done a little better. And I've been on her about giving her best when she's on that field, giving her best effort. Don't give up. Soccer is that kind of sport that you're always running. They have two halves, and there's basically no timeouts in soccer. Her halves consist of two 40-minute halves. And as she's out there in that field, she's required to run and do her best on that field as she's continuing to play against these other elite players. She's at a level at this time in her career where that they're at the top level. She's at the top level at her age, and that's requiring her to put forth everything she has if she wants to be competitive out there on that field. It requires her to do the best she has if they're going to win. I mean, she's one of those type of players where her team needs her, and she needs her team. And so, as a parent, as me, as to engage her, to try to help her to do better, I engage a certain way. Now, going forward, I'm an ex-athlete. And then what I mean by that, I played football for years. No, I never played soccer, but I did play American football. And I've been coached many years. I played American football up until my adult years. And what that means, though, from a coaching perspective, coaches, as I've gotten older, of course, some of the words, some of the things they have said have changed. But ever since I was a little boy, 8 years old when I first started, coaches have always been tough, especially in competitive sports. So that's what I've been used to. So I'm used to hearing certain words said. I'm used to hearing certain things meant to engage or encourage you to do better. Even if some of the words were not words you would use with little kids. At the same time, I'm not out there cussing at my daughter, things of that nature. But I maybe do say some things from my wife's perspective that does not need to be said.
Is it my perspective?
I think so.
So your daughter never said anything?
Oh, well, yeah, my daughter said a few things about me saying certain things. I mean, the type of things to me that I want her to do better on, basically, sometimes I can come off a little rough. Let me give you an idea. When she's out there playing sometime and I don't see that effort, to me, we have some code words. I'll say code words like energy. And when I mean by energy, I'm talking, of course, I'm saying it out loud. I'm not saying her name in energy. I'm just saying energy, and that code word is, step up your game. Make sure you put forth your best effort, things of that nature. Sometimes things I can come off a little more harsher. I can say, come on, have more heart than that. Come on, fight. You got to want it more than the other girl. And so sometimes when I say those things, my daughter takes it harshly. And I'm not trying to be harsh. I just want her to truly know that she has to put forth her best effort. She can't give up, because if she gives up, it's not going to just cost you something. It's going to cost your teammates. And see, when I was coming up, that was one of the things that our coaches really harped on when I was coming up, and even adolescents and teens. You got to have heart to play this game. You got to give everything you have to play this game. If you don't give everything you have, you're going to lose that one-on-one battle. And sometimes because of the position you're in, you can help your team lose that battle or help the teams lose that game. And so that's more so where I'll be coming from. I'm not necessarily coming from a place where I want to hurt my daughter or say something that doesn't benefit her. But at the same time, I want her to know you have to continue to want to be your best out here. You have to want to give your best effort, because if you do not give your best effort, it's going to cost. And you're at a level now where it's not going to just cost you, it can cost your team. And so that's where I be coming from. And sometimes my words, when I do say it, I'm not realizing in the moment that I am, hurting my daughter or making her step back, or I'm embarrassing her, because really what I get back is I'm embarrassing her. And that's kind of a harsh word for me, especially when I'm not trying to embarrass her, but at the same time, I can see how she feels about it. I can sometimes even see her countenance drop, and I'm like, man, oh my goodness, that's not where I was going. But yet I still said it out my mouth, and so therefore I've caused confusion. So I've tried to work on a few different words, like reset. When something happens where she doesn't want it to happen, or something, she didn't have a good play, or she missed the goal, I'll say reset, because I want her not to harp on what's going on. I want her to go to the next thing. So we have certain words that we use. I've already told you energy. I've told you reset. These are probably the words I use the most out there as I'm cheering her on. But at the same time, I did give you something I did say that bothered her. So that's kind of the things, from my standpoint, where I'm coming from today.
So what we need to do is start from the beginning. The beginning is that the conversation that was happening on the field was, you don't want it, she wants it more than you.
I didn't say that though when I was out there.
What did you say?
I said, you got to want it more than the other girl.
What else did you say?
What you mean what else did I say? I'm telling you what I said. That's what I said.
That's not the only thing you said.
Well, to say it out loud, but I didn't tell her you don't want it. I said, you got to want it more than she wants it. So if you're going to win, you got to want it more. What else did I say?
She wants it more than you. You don't want it. She wants it more than you. You said it several times.
I did not say that, because it was... Tell me where that's at on camera. Tell me where somebody got my voice saying that she wants it more than you.
Oh, we have to have everything on film?
No, I'm just saying.
Let's bring that up.
Oh, my God.
So, years ago in college, there was a song that was...
Can we not talk about that?
It wasn't me.
Oh, my goodness.
Did you or did you not say...
I don't want to...
Absolutely.
Is this confessions?
This would never be you that you would confess, even if you were caught on camera.
Why
would I have a video? Why would I even take the time
to tell you, I didn't
to
say
think
that
one
way,
is
though.
necessary for such an event as this? I heard it and I just said it. That's proof enough.
I'm trying to listen. Sometimes things may come out wrong, but I don't think I said it that way.
You said what you said, and I repeated it.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair
and
enough.
So because of such a statement, there was a conversation between who? Me and you.
Okay.
I said, Charles, I don't think that was appropriate. When we're out here, especially in front of scouts and other people, we should only call out the things that are positive. We will talk to her about those other things at another time, but we are here to cheer her on. She is here doing something that neither one of us can do. We can't sit up here and run for 90 minutes, 40 minutes straight, running miles at a time in the hot or the cold. Neither one of us can do that. Am I right or am I right?
Okay. Hey, point proven. I'm getting it, but
Okay.
I'm not trying to be. I'm not on the field.
Exactly.
My time is done.
Point taken.
Okay.
That's exactly my point. My point is your time is done. You're not on the field. So you can't possibly understand the pain that she's going through when she missed that goal, that opportunity, that moment. You can't possibly understand, because you know how I know? I'm not on the field either, and I can't possibly understand. And because of that, I have empathy. You know that, right? Empathy.
I get that. I know what empathy is. But what I'm trying to say was, I was really trying to just make sure she understands the difference while she's out there playing. Okay, if that girl, if you let that person out there on the field outplay you, okay, you're never going to get to your goal.
Right. That's a coaching moment. It's not a cheering moment. As a matter of fact, when we're on the sidelines, we are spectators and we cheer. That's our goal, our mission, and our only directive as parents. We're supposed to, the coaches have already told us. The club that we play for already told us. We are there to cheer on our child. Not to coach her, not to correct her, and definitely not to embarrass her.
I wasn't trying to embarrass her, babe. I was trying to make sure she was good.
Okay, so we came from two different angles. My angle is I heard her for several seasons straight say, Dad, I hate it when you say this because I get embarrassed. Now, of course, we're not talking about mom because mom doesn't do that. Now, do I?
She's a little girl. Let's make it plain, okay?
That makes it to where mom is right. Because
I'm
I
just
would
saying,
like to bring to the table
it's
our
all
other
little
daughter.
kids because they got certain feelings about certain things, gonna be right about everything.
Why are you over talking?
I'm not trying to overtalk you. Oh my God.
I would like to bring to the table our other daughter who would definitely say, Mom is almost never right, even though I'm always right.
Oh my God, here we go.
Because he said she's a girl, I would absolutely be able to get it right. No, because she's a girl, usually moms get it wrong. But this mom has been actively listening because I did get it wrong with my oldest more often than not. So this time, I'm doing my best to get it right.
All I'm saying is we have different ways of engaging her.
Yes.
Different ways of bringing things to her attention. And my way may be more direct because I want her to understand it because it's in the moment. I'm just trying to get the best out of her too, just like you're trying to get the best out of her, right? Mm-hmm. We can't look at each other and say that, I mean, right?
I'm trying to.
Don't you bust me on this camera. Don't you bust me up on this camera. No, I'm just saying though, but that's the goal, right? I mean, I'm just trying to engage her. I mean, that's my girl. I love her. But I want to engage her because when she's in that moment, I know she's feeling the emotions of that moment and feeling the excitement of that moment. But she also, as she feels what's going on, if I engage her now, maybe she can even fix the moment is what I'm trying to get at, right? Sometimes the coaches, we don't have, coaches are a lot different now. I mean, these coaches, they got to have, that emotional intelligence with dealing with kids. I mean, coaches weren't that way when we were young. They were just more like, what, man, this is what we going after. I mean, go get it. This ain't one of them participation award type things. I mean, she's at the top level of what she does. Okay, it's extra competitive. And so for me, for my daughter to remain at that level and continue to get better, sometimes she got to be engaged. I feel like sometimes our coaches don't quite even do enough while she's on that field.
So that's where we are right there.
What do you mean where we are right there?
You feel that the coaches are not doing enough. That is shown in the way that you participate in the coaching on the sidelines. So because of that, I understand your point of view. I've seen it. There is truth because according to you, truth always has a corresponding reality to what is said. So what you're saying, I've seen you perform it. So it's truth. However, the point that I'm trying to make is hearing the person tell you, who's the person that you're talking to, hearing that person tell you how what you say affects them shouldn't matter enough to where you're willing to pivot in your approach to them or with them. I use that on you. I use that with you. That's probably why we're still able to do anything together, because when you tell me something affects you in a certain way, and that certain way is not going towards my end goal, which is to have you affected in a positive way. If you tell me it affects you in a negative way, I'm going to definitely hear you and do my best to pivot, even in my conversation, so that I can reach you and reach my end goal, which is for you to be affected, but in a positive way. My goal is never to be negative, right? Even though a lot of times I hit that negative bullseye.
Yep.
Right? Can you say that again?
We good.
A lot less confidence, okay? We good. So my point is, I just did not believe she was heard. And as an advocate of my child, I will definitely bring that up to my husband, who I believe loves the two of us. So what did my husband respond to his loving wife with? What was it that you actually said back to me? This is always the point that we're going to have a big conversation about, because it's his responses or reactions.
Remember, this in the moment. Nobody perfect. You know what I'm saying to you? Nobody perfect. So it might look bad. It might look bad.
What are you talking about? Because we only talking about us here.
Yeah, well.
Who's imperfect here?
in the moment, I didn't want to hear nothing nobody had to say. I would just be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Who's nobody? Say the name.
Listen, baby. I don't want to hear nothing about what we're talking about right now.
There you go.
I was trying to push my baby to do her best, and I wanted to do best on that field. And so that's what happened. It is what it is. We passed that now. you know.
So how did we get past it? But what did you say that we're getting past?
First, I did walk away for a moment because I had to get myself together. I didn't want to hear nothing she had to say. She is my wife. After I got myself together, I came back, and took the chair to the car after the game was over. We did take an L that day. It was a rough L for all of us. But what I had to say about it at first, like I said, I didn't want to talk about it because I felt like I needed to engage my daughter a certain way. I do understand after the fact that I could have engaged her differently, and I could have engaged her differently for sure, but that still left me with a little bit of a blank. How do I engage her in a game to be helpful towards her? That took a lot of. I had to sit back with that a little bit. Like I said, I didn't talk to my wife about it right away because I was still so emotionally attached to what it was. Probably too emotionally attached, to be honest with you. When I see my girl play or my sons play, I want them to be their best. I want them to be their best. I want them to always do their best to show as close as possible to 100% effort. And when I feel like they're letting up, when I feel like they're letting somebody be better than them, and I say be better than them because to me, when you give 100% effort, I don't care if that person's athletically better than you. When you give that your 100% of your best effort, I feel like you're going after it no matter what. That you're continuing to fight and that you're not giving up. And so when I have that thought process in my mind, like, man, I see my daughters or I see my sons giving up and I don't want them to give up, I seem to be more really engaged when it comes. Maybe that's me just as a father. As a father, I want the best out of my children. And I want them to always give their best when they're out there performing by themselves or with their teams. So yes, I can be a little more aggressive when it comes to that. I do realize I'm also not a coach. That's funny. That ain't funny. I'm telling the truth here. These are facts. All right. And so, am I wrong?
Oh, you're absolutely aggressive.
That's what we doing. Don't be smile like that at the camera. Here we go.
I'm reiterating your truth.
Well,
I approve of this message.
Oh my goodness. I'm looking for them to be the best. And so as a father, I have a way of trying to bring that out. With my other kids, I seem to be a little more easier with my youngest daughter. She doesn't like that too much. I do realize that I have to find ways to work with her better. Even those code words I gave you earlier about reset the energy. That was the words that we were talking about. And I probably should have used those words. I'm sure I should have used those words during that game.
Yes.
We were just behind and I wanted her to do a little better when she's out there, so those words kind of slipped my mind at that time.
I think
so
those words would have really helped you if you had reset and used your energy differently. I think that would have helped you. See, sometimes the gift we're willing to give is one we must first receive.
We're going to do that to me.
Well, I'm just saying. In my opinion, what you said was valid.
Okay.
It was the place, the timing, and the who you said it in front of. That was the part that played a bad part in it. Because if we were to look at the film, we would say, can you see that this person, it appears that she wants it more than you. Okay? If we were to be amongst ourselves in a closed setting, just like it is when you were in football. Now, of course, I've never been in your video rooms with you guys, but from what I gather from what you've told me is you're in there with your teammates, right? And yes, you can't be embarrassed in front of your teammates, but then again, it's still a closed captioned audience that understands your pain at one level or another, because they've all been in that hot seat, right?
Right.
When we are in an audience filled place, a place where people are strangers, people don't know of our abilities, our strengths, when they don't know how we when they don't know how we regularly perform at our best, it becomes an embarrassing situation when I make a mistake, when I did miss this thing and I could have done it. If you don't think for 1 second an athlete at that level, which you've been in one way or another, playing college football, you're at an exceptionally high level for everyone else at that level, especially a D1 school, you know that you're already beating yourself up. The athlete that's on the field is absolutely hurting because of that miss that they know that they just made. they know that they just missed it. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, at that level, I believe that's true. My thought process, though, about my daughter at this time is maybe she doesn't understand something, at that level right now, and so really when I'm thinking that in my mind, and when I'm literally just going back through this moment in the game, I'm wanting to engage her as she's playing. Now I do, hindsight being 2020, I realize I'm not her coach. I'm not a coach, and I realize, maybe for me to be even trying to engage her in the game is maybe out of pocket.
Right.
And so
they told us that at the beginning of the season.
they told the whole parents though, not just me.
They told us that at the beginning of the season. That's all of us parents.
Okay, thank you, because you were just like pointing at me like I'm the only one out there talking to any kids.
Check the video. I didn't point at you.
Okay, I just want to set the record straight. That's all I want to do.
Straight.
Yeah, man. People out there believing like this is crazy dad. No, I'm not the crazy dad. I'm the encouraged dad. I cheer for the whole team. I do cheer for the whole team, right? I mean, I cheer for everybody's kids out there. I want them all to do their best out there. So of course I'm going to cheer for my daughter out there. Now, I realize also my perspective can be easily skewed because at playing at a certain level or playing at a high level, I realize I cannot deal with my daughter at that level right now with her just being, a early teenager, a young teenager. And so I have to sit back a little bit and not be as aggressive, it's not, I even be thinking, to tell my daughter, like, don't you understand? Okay, if you're going to play this game and you want to play it at the ultimate level, people are going to be out there booing you when you do something, or people may be rooting against you when you're out there playing. And I kind of want her to understand that, but I also need to make sure she understands that's not going to be ever coming from me. And of course, I wasn't booing my daughter or nothing like that right there. But don't be laughing. I'm not booing my girl or nothing like that out there, or saying anything against her or rooting against her, of course. I just wanted her at that moment to be her best. And I got to be careful because, maybe that truthfully that was her best at that moment.
Right. Because
she's the one out there doing that running. She's the one out there, right now, running that extra mile, so to speak, going at it. And maybe at that moment she was at 100% effort. Like say, I'm not on the inside of her. That's not my body. So maybe that's exactly where she was already at. So I definitely believe my wife is, good at that. At that point it was good that she said. And so with that being the understanding, when we got in the car, we addressed it a little more. Then we addressed it more at home. And so I want to be that father that of course lifts up, and I'm working on that, maybe lifting up more, but also is straightforward enough where I can encourage but also engage my child to be the best that she can possibly be while she's on that field.
Right. Well, in that, just to bring up how we addressed it is one thing, because what we did do is have a heartfelt interaction on the field where
I probably want my best. That's right.
I brought the
I probably want my best on that field.
over to my husband because we weren't sitting with each other. I was over talking with another parent. And then after the game, I went over.
That could have been part of the problem right there.
No, I was talking with the other parent.
Yeah, you could have been sitting with me.
As we were watching the game, you were very animated the whole entire game.
Well, I just wanted the team to do their best, and that was all. We're like say rooting for them.
And the thing is that there was probably too much pressure because of who was there, and I think that because of that incited more energy from you that it probably would not have been there had you not known.
I don't think I knew before after the game, right?
I told you before the game.
Oh, I didn't, but I don't think that changed who I was.
I think that helped your emotional
okay.
high to be moved up another notch or notches. And so what happened is that the stuff that came out of your mouth didn't come out of your mouth before, not that way.
Okay.
And it didn't come out of your mouth in the game that you went after. The games that you went after
that. The games I went after, and I already, we didn't have this conversation already, so that's
not
going to come up easy, tell you that.
The point is, he's gotten in trouble for less than that. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, I've gotten in trouble for less than that.
Yeah, with our daughter, who is one thing that I do admire about her, she's extremely assertive.
Extremely vocal.
We encourage that, I more than the other. So I encourage her assertiveness because I want my kids to be able to say what they're honestly thinking in a way to where other people can hear it, and I want them to practice it while they're young. Now, not all my kids have taken that as something that they want to do, and that's fine. We all use our voices eventually. hopefully we use our voices eventually. But I do want them to feel heard always. So the reason why this was a conflict between us two was because I believe I heard her so many other times when she said, this affects me this way, this affects me this way. And the only reason why it was sensitive for me is because when you would tell me, Myhisha, I don't like it when you do this because it affects me this way.
Okay.
I don't like when you say this in front of people because it affects me this way. I don't like when we have to have this happen, it affects me this way. So I said, okay, well, I do my best to change all these different areas. Then I have a kid that comes up and has the same basic effects as you.
Okay.
It affects me this way, it affects me this way. Okay, well, I just pivot there, I pivot there. I'm not going to change who I am. However, I will change how I interact with you if it affects you in a bad way. Okay? So I will do my best to work with you on your terms that also work with my terms.
Right.
Okay? So it has to be win-win. Well, in this, you so many times you said, okay, well, I won't do these things. So when I brought it up to you and I said, Charles, that was too harsh. In my opinion, you should have just held that or waited, because there's so many people out here, and the people who are out here, they actually, not all of them want her to win. Not all of them want her to be her best. So it's kind of like you created a little cheering section against her. Well, I know how things go, and I have coaches before, and these are how my coaches coached me. And I'm like, but you're not the coach, buddy, you're the dad. The dad has a different position with the child. The mom has a different position with the child. My position at that point was simply to say, you know what, you did some amazing things. That's a great job. And then when all of the emotions and the adrenaline had dissipated, for me to go in and to remind her, when this opportunity arose, instead of you moving forward, you retreated back. And that was an opportunity for you to push, and you could have made it.
So my portion of the conflict was different because my perspective is different than hers. I was looking at it for, solely from, my perspective, I guess, from the perspective of a dad who wanted to engage his daughter while she was in the moment in time, or engaged while she was in the actual action of doing what she was doing. Yeah, I needed to step back. Looking back, I could have been better. My daughter definitely didn't appreciate it, didn't really want to deal with me or talk to me too much right after. But, she's a little girl, right? I'm thinking to myself, like, well, she's a teenager, of course. She does a lot of different things. So I didn't think too hard on it. Now, that's also one of the problems. Because I don't always think too hard about the things that she does, because she's a teenager. And teenagers say and do a lot of the wrong things. Inconsiderate to me in some areas. So sometimes I don't take that, sometimes what she say at face value. I just kind of let it go. But the truth of the matter is I need to take it in and listen to it and figure out the best way to engage with her. And that was important. But because I took it lightly, it definitely showed that I was not taking what she thought about things, how she felt about things, and how to engage with her the right way. So that's very true.
So one of the points that we made, and I think was a good point for both of us, is, Charles, would you cheer any of the other girls like that? Would you say those same things to any of the other girls? Because you want all of the girls on our team to win. Would you say it that way?
No, I absolutely would not have brought that up before any of the girls. That's not even thought process of bringing that up about any other girls, because I was talking to my daughter, somebody near and dear to me. I really wanted her to, like I say, my thought process really just to engage and take that moment, as you hear me change now. I wouldn't have brought that any other kid, because I really wouldn't have wanted to put any other kid under that spotlight. And I felt, I didn't think about that from my own kid's perspective. Like, your dad, you're putting me under the spotlight. And if you put me under the spotlight, and especially in a time where I'm not having my best moment, it's going to embarrass me, And no, I didn't think about it from that same thing. And a lot of parents, and I compare myself with a lot of parents. I think we've seen this though also, on the internet, YouTube, things of that nature, where sometimes we're pushing our kids and we're pushing them kind of the wrong way at the wrong moment. And I'm gonna leave it there. And that's simply because, like I say, we're trying to get our kid to be the best. And we have to understand, kind of, we have to get to a place where what does that entail? Does that entail, we're going to risk embarrassing our kid or putting our kid in a bad place, even possibly getting our kids kicked out of a game? Because I've seen some things where parents get their kids kicked out of the game. Their kids are having, the best game, they're in the game, but because of the parents' actions, they are actually taken out of the game. And so, no, I wouldn't have done that with any other kid. But that's a good gauge for me. That'd probably be a good gauge for other. If you want to say this to another child while they're on the field, okay, why would you say it probably to your own kid while they're on the field?
Right.
And then the other side of it is maybe what you have to say is putting, another child or even your own child in the wrong spotlight. And if you're going to do that, just don't do it at all.
Right.
So that's probably some more gain, some more insights. Hindsight being 2020. I'd rather engage the right way, or maybe just stay with the good words, so to speak, and then talk to the child afterwards, or talk to my daughter. At least what I would have done now is talk to her afterwards. And so that's probably how I would have proceeded going forward.
Yeah, well, that's what I saw you do. So from that, we took, if I'm not going to give it to somebody else, I won't give it to my own child. One of the back and forth we had was specifically because of that. You said, no, I can because it's my child. And I said, that's exactly the reason why you shouldn't, is because it's your child. So not that we would give anything negative to someone else's child. It's just that if we're going to give something, why not give the best?
Yeah.
Right?
Great.
So that's the goal here. And I just appreciated, I'm going to be very honest, the way that you got in the car was completely different than what I was anticipating. Never mind the fact I was absolutely praying all the way to the car in the spirit because I didn't even have the right words to say to the Lord. I needed His presence because I was getting heated myself. It was already, almost 100-degree weather outside. And so with all of those things going, I have to give Him absolute credit that when He got in the car, it was as though He had totally gotten all of the clues, and He sat with them because the conversation was gentle. All of the problems that we've had before in learning all of these different lessons with all the other games, He implemented that information as far as, gentle conversation, upbeat conversation, pointing out the things that were done right, how hard it was, the effort that she had put into such a hard situation and the heat. Yeah. You brought up all the things that were actually complimentary and positive, which I have to say you did a great job on.
I appreciate it.
Okay. You did that.
I did something good. I want to make sure y'all know I did something good out there.
He did.
He
did.
May not always been the moment, but like I say, it's rough sometimes when you make that bad move and you're trying to figure it out, what to do next. And that's kind of the position I was in. And I didn't want to keep it going forward. And that's really where, even when I got in the car, I just, hey, it's time to change the atmosphere again and let's get things right. So that was it.
Yeah. Well, I think that we learned a lot of lessons. Mm-hmm. I learned some lessons about how to approach you on the field, what to say and not to say. I also learned some more lessons about what your perspective is as far as your children versus other children, how people interact on the field. Sometimes we are so engaged in what we're feeling about what's happening versus what's actually happening and what the other person who's doing the action might be feeling. So that's to be considered more important than, in my opinion, more important than how I'm feeling. So for me, I do my best to see it from their perspective. And a lot of times where I messed up, I think, in this game was I didn't cheer as often as I should have, because maybe if I was a more positive voice that was constantly out there about our particular child, the player out there, then maybe that might have influenced a little bit more of restraint when it came time to coach so harshly from the sideline. I don't know. I don't consider it my fault at all. What I do consider is that I could have done more, and I will do more in the coming games. I will definitely make sure that everyone knows how much we appreciate what our daughter is doing out there. Yeah. We have 3 amazing children, 4 with our godson, and it's just amazing because we make so many mistakes as parents, as individuals, and as spouses, that with all 4 of these kids, they're very, very forgiving. They show us a lot of grace, mercy.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we get to learn alongside of them, and I trust that they will consider us good parents in the end, hopefully.
I agree.
Yeah, because we're willing to change and do better. We are becoming better parents as we grow older and do more, right?
Yeah, and the truth at the heart of the matter is parents that care for their children and want the best out of their children and pushing their children to be the best. But how we push, we know is very important, because we can push a child to a place where what we're doing and the child no longer respects. And so that's not what we're going for. And at the same time, as long as we're bringing the child into that conversation, bringing them and engaging the child the right way, or engaging our children the right way, even our adult children, we keep the conversation open and we keep love involved. That's important.
Yes.
I want to say thank you guys. Thank you for joining us today in another episode of Conflicts and Conversation. We look forward to seeing you guys again. Please send your comments or some of the things that you guys have been through to admin@harvestvillage.org. That's ADMIN at Harvest Village, HARVEST, Village, VILLAGE.org. And if there's some of the things that we've been through, some of the conflicts that we've had, we would love to bring them up on this show. We appreciate that, family. Do you have anything else to say?
Till the next time.
Till the next time. Take care. Bye now.